Guys, I have a lot of things to cover, from some more places that we're going to be going to how that impacts me, and just to give you guys some insights into some things and kind of what's going on in the world today and kind of what we're doing. It's going to be a pretty lengthy video here today. So I'm going to start off by saying, once again, I am from Louisiana, so the home of what a lot of people refer to as down the French Quarter as voodoo queens and witch doctors, and I definitely grew up hearing a lot of stories about that. So that's definitely how I got the paranormal side of things. And I tell you what, being from an area like that, you definitely hear and see a lot of strange things, and especially out in the swamplands. I had an uncle who actually lived out in the swamplands, and it was definitely eerie out there, especially if we were out there at night visiting. And especially as a kid, you knew, even from an early age, been after visiting him, though, that you never wanted to wander off into the swamps by yourself out there. And that was something that got to me even at a young age, and completely dark and stuff. And average Joe kids, they want to go out and they want to play hide and seek, and they want to go out and just be kids and be that way. But whenever you could go out 40 or 50 feet and have the chance to be grabbed by an alligator potentially that just happened to be up on land at night, or just water moccasins or anything else that could get you out there in those types of areas. I mean, he really did live out on the bayou. Lived out in bayou country, and it was just something that, growing up that way, it definitely shows you a perspective of things. And that's why now, though, I'm big on the paranormal investigation trails of going out and investigating varying places. And I tell you what, if you can take hearing some of the stories and actually experiencing some of the things that happened down there again in Louisiana and the voodoo and the witch doctors country, and like in the Maniac Swamp video of whenever I went on the alligator tour there and everything, and they talked about Julie Brown, who was a voodoo queen back down in that way, back down in LaPlace back in the day. And it was something that just amazed me, the fact of just hearing that, because that was a tour that I didn't even know that was going to be haunted. I just wanted to go out there and kind of relive some of my glory days, so to speak, there, and been out there by the swamplands. And it's definitely different, because I get asked a lot, like, people ask me how I ended up here in Missouri, and vice versa, and a lot of varying things. The biggest thing, so my mom is from Kansas City, and my dad originates down there in Louisiana. So there's definitely a lot of things that led me to coming back up this way. My mom really didn't like it down in Louisiana. Of course, I'm a native to that state as well, because I was born there. I was born over in Ruston. We lived in Winfield, which is north central Louisiana, kind of, but we still were definitely immersed in the southern culture, which it's a big timber industry down there. A lot of people don't think of Louisiana as being this big lumber state, but a vast majority of paper actually comes out of that state to some of the other southern states. And pine trees are notorious for that. They would pound them up into chips, and again, like my dad hauled chips and logs and everything else. The logging industry down there is the biggest industry. The forestry industry is just so huge down there. But that's the other thing, though, too, is that there's been numerous Bigfoot sightings down there along these old logging roads and everything. I personally have never seen anything out there, but you just don't understand how, like, you think about, like, the area that you live in, and you think of thick woods. Everything down there, especially in the government property and the company property of where they're maybe doing a thinning out there. For those of you guys that don't know what a thinning is that they go out there and they only take out some of the trees, like maybe every fifth one or so. They do that so the other trees have room to grow bigger, and they do that so they have like room to breathe. But there have been people who've sighted things out there. And again, it's just big voodoo country. So you hear a lot of stories. And something that a lot of people always say is, well, maybe because you hear so many stories, your mind kind of tends to imagine things. There's been a lot of people here lately saying, well, because you know supposedly what's supposed to happen here, so you think that you're seeing stuff and you're hearing things. But when you get so many people confirming and verifying things, that's where it gets to be kind of a big deal. It's like, I saw this deal the other day and everybody was saying, well, if Bigfoot is real, then how come they've never had a clear picture of it? How come they've never discovered a body or the skeletal remains of Bigfoot? And the funny thing to me is, though, is if you think about what Bigfoot is just a giant ape. I mean, so monkeys are real. It's really not that far-fetched that a monkey could grow into the size of a bear, so to speak, standing up on his back legs and be walking around. That's really not that. I mean, some gorillas, they do get that size, like a silverback gorilla. So it's just crazy. But it's all about perspective. Perspective on things. Perspective is such a powerful thing, because the way I see something isn't the way that you see something. It isn't the way that I hear stuff. It's the way that you hear stuff, but vice versa. But if you're all standing there and you all have this same general idea that this is what you're saying and this is what you're hearing and this is what's going on, then you're going to continue to think that that was real, especially if there was multiple people there. And there's instances, Ed and Lorraine Warren are probably the most obscene paranormal investigators, probably the most famous. Ed was really the first one of his kind to be a demonologist with the Catholic Church. The big thing is Ed had this deal of, he would always have other people with them, him and Lorraine, experts, doctors, people that were experts in their field of study. And they wouldn't know a lot of these people sometimes. And they'd have police officers there, and police officers would see things and stories of Ed that they would tell. But you had all these people confirming everything that was happening, but yet the media always wanted to quiet it down. And churches are big, Catholic churches especially, like in the event of The Exorcist that actually took place. The real story of The Exorcist actually took place up here in St. Louis, where a boy, 14 years old, he was playing around with a Ouija board, and you guys all know the movie probably, but it was a 12-year-old girl in the movie, played by Linda Blair, but the real boy's name was Roland Doe, and his family actually moved here from Washington over to St. Louis. And the paranormal started there with him, and it started because he played with the Ouija board. Him and his aunt, who he was really close to, they would play with the Ouija board together. Now, playing with it in twos, that's fine. But you never play with the Ouija board by yourself, because then things like that happen. He opened up a gateway, things started coming in, bad things started happening, and contrary to what the movies show, though, guys, an exorcism actually takes place over several months, because the house that they're staying in, and the family members there, where they started it, and then they moved him over to the church, and then they moved him over to a hospital that was there to continue. It's not just this deal of where it takes place in about 10 minutes. They just do that in movies because they have time constraints. Now, the big thing is that there was all these witnesses and stuff, though, to this as well. But the Catholic Church they don't deny that it actually happened. They just won't speak on it. And that's a pretty common thing in these types of situations, because they don't want to draw a lot of attention to it, because then people who are maybe skeptics will go out there and they'll try to perform seances and play with Ouija boards and things like that. And so they'll get out there and they will try to play with the Ouija boards, perform seances, such as in the case of the Annabelle doll, which, if you guys don't know the story behind Annabelle, yes, the movies, which is also famous for Ed and Lorraine Warren actually being in the movie, but the Conjuring universe, all that is based on Ed and Lorraine's cases of actual things that they investigated. But if you watch The Conjuring, they actually go through it, that they actually go over to a house that they think, well, it could be haunted. Well, it's just the water pipes making all these creaky noises. So they investigated a lot of cases. That's all it was. There was no paranormal activity there, and there was nothing like really going on. It was just the fact that it was an old house, creaky boards, the water pipes would make all these noises like they were howling at you, basically. But then, obviously, it goes on, it continues on. And the actual Conjuring house, the real one, you can go visit it today. It's switched ownership here a couple of times, just like in the Amityville house. That was also an Ed and Lorraine Warren case, the Amityville Horror, that actually, that they wrote a book on, and they made movies of, and they made all kinds of things. Ed Warren actually spoke on the guy who actually wrote the Amityville Horror. He actually did not understand the paranormal side of things, so the way he wrote things really didn't translate into the paranormal terms, or the terms of the universe of like where they were, like kind of like what they did. So Ed really didn't appreciate it, but before he finished that book, he actually had a heart attack. He didn't die, but he actually continued on, and then he actually finished that book, and then he actually ended up writing another book about a horror deal, but he ended up actually having another heart attack and dying that time. So Ed believed that it was because he was upsetting paranormal things because he was writing the book. And you got to remember this, the devil's biggest weapon is deception. You're not thinking that he's real, so you don't think God is real. That is the biggest tool, is the weapon of deception. And because if you don't believe in one, you can't believe in the other. But there's a lot of people out there that believe in God that don't believe in demons and spirits. And I've always said that you can't believe in God without believing the other, because the Bible speaks of spirits and ghosts and demons and all kinds of things. So that's something that I would say. But you can believe what you want. We have free will. You can believe whatever you want. But I've studied a lot into the cases of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I've definitely intrigued by their research. Actually, their old house is a museum now. Actually, it closed here not too long ago. They were trying to find a new location in order to put the items. But you can actually go see their occult museum of where all these items are that they actually have there. The real Annabelle doll, which is a Raggedy Ann doll, and all kinds of things. The Shadow doll, all kinds of things. Now, there's a lot of people that go there and they say, oh, well, it's a bunch of hoolah and this isn't real and da-da-da. Well, Ed also tells a story of a college kid that was there, and he told the Annabelle doll that if it was real, to put a slash on him, to do something to him. So Ed put him out, and about 2 hours later, that boy was dead in a motorcycle accident. The girl that he was with said that he was talking about the doll, and then couldn't stop talking about it, but his motorcycle went out of control, hit a tree, killed him instantly. She spent over a year in the hospital. And as Ed would tell you, and as I'm going to tell you now, you don't ever challenge devils. You just don't. It's just something no man can stand against it without the power of Christ backing him up. But the big thing is, though, the point I'm trying to get at, the guys, is that the paranormal is vast, but there are a lot of things out there that people don't understand. You see all these TV shows, you see all these fame deals. Everybody tries to exploit it for just a little bit of fame. Just a little bit of fame. That's all they need out of it. Or they think they're going to become like multimillionaires, and some of them have. There's some channels out there that do extraordinarily well like that, but they treat it like it's a game. And when you're dealing in spiritual things, again, and you get into black magic and satanic like rituals, and you're going to places and there's all kinds of things that have happened, and there's all that spiritual energy there, and all these things that are happening. And I've been telling you some of the stories there, such as back down in Louisiana, the story of Barry's Bridge. I'll paraphrase the story for you here really quickly. A girl named Mary this was in a Cajun community, mind you now. She was dating an American. So that is a term for somebody that is not of Cajun descent. I am half Cajun, so this is a history that goes way back, though. But the story goes is that Mary, her boyfriend, wanted to make advances towards her, and he wanted her to put out to him. And he goes, and she refuses, and they're driving back, and he says, look, you either have sex with me, or I'll throw you in the bayou. So he ended up throwing her in the bayou, actually. He hit her over the head with a whiskey bottle until she lost consciousness, and then threw her in the bayou. Now, the biggest thing is, they searched for her, they never could find her. So then, a couple weeks later, the boyfriend ends up disappearing, and they think that her dad actually did something to him, to where he met the same fate, ended up in the bayou the same way that he did to his daughter Mary. And to this day, they say if you pull up on our bridge, it's on East 90 there as you're heading out there. They pull up on your bridge, and you shut your car engine off, and you say, Mary, 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 3 times. Your car won't start, and it won't start again until you actually push it off of the bridge. That is the way it goes. I've never actually been to that bridge, but it is something that intrigues me, and I plan on going there. Got a lot of family back down in Louisiana, and I definitely plan on going down there and checking that out. When you get out there in Cajun country, guys, you've really got to be careful, because Cajuns are a different breed of people entirely. I mean, they really are. They're not going to hurt you, but you just got to be careful about the way you act, because you're out there in their turf, their territory, so to speak. And again, as being a half Cajun myself, it's just something that really astounds me anymore. And you definitely want to show them respect when you're out there, because Cajun French is another big deal as well. And Cajun French is not the same thing as French. I have the elders of my family that could speak Cajun French are actually gone now. But it was actually frowned upon to actually speak it, so they never actually spoke it. And so it's a dying language, but it's not the same thing as French. A Frenchman and a Cajun that speaks Cajun French could sit there and be speaking to each other, but they wouldn't understand a word they what I'm saying. It's a completely different language. It's a different dialect. It's a different everything. But this is what I'm talking about, though, guys. And actually, there's some things that actually think that there's people that think that voodoo actually started in the Cajun culture. And I wouldn't disagree with that, because it is definitely a mix of a lot of different cultures into one. But there's a lot of different things. We'll be going to a lot of different places. We'll be heading down here to New Orleans here. I'd say within the next 6 months or so, we should be down there. Be checking out some more stuff down there. And yeah, again, I've got family all over the state of Louisiana. There's a lot of places down there. There's some other things. We'll be going back to the Crescent Hotel. We'll be going up to check out the Exorcist House up here in St. Louis and the Catholic Church and the remains of where the exorcism actually took place, of the buildings, and just all kinds of really great things, guys. We'll have a lot of things coming up. But there are some things I want to talk about here as well. Like, when I say demons, people don't realize that, yes, there are spiritual demons, ghostly demons, things along those lines. But there is a deal that people don't understand as well. The fact of the matter is that demons can be people all around you. You can go out, the next time that you're in public, I challenge you to do this. Pay attention to what's going on around you. You should be paying attention to what's going on around you anyway, because the world is just utterly insane. But the next time that you go out and you see people around you, look around and you will see their ill intentions. Not all people, but there's definitely more now than what there was. But there are people that are looking to, people that don't even know you, that are looking to tear you down in some way, which I know that sounds strange, but they are. And it's just the way that it is. But that's what I mean, though. And people are fighting their own demons as well. Not in like demonic possession form, but they are fighting them. They are fighting to get over alcohol, to get over drugs, they're fighting every day. They are fighting to become a better person. And there's all kinds of things. A lot of people don't have very good tempers. They lose their tempers too easily. A lot of people just don't know how to interact with people. It's just the way that it is. But there's a lot of things out there, and guys, just because you have never seen anything does not mean that it does not exist. And this is something that I get into a lot. And I started out talking at the beginning of this video about perspectives on things and things that you can see, things people have seen. And I'll tell you this, guys, one of the biggest things is most people don't believe in anything until they experience it for themselves. They will not believe it. And the crazy part to me is, though, is that people will do anything they can now. Like, you can be speaking straight fact on something. And I'm take away all the paranormal stuff here for a second. You can be talking straight fact on something, and people will do everything they can to try to pick at something so they can be right and you can be wrong. People do not have the ability to admit when they're wrong. I mean, and everybody can have different opinions, that's fine. But when it's a fact, when something is a fact, but like you say the sky is blue, and somebody says, well, no, the sky is pink. The sky is blue, but they will try to do things like that to try to prove you wrong, and that's just the insane thing to be. And honestly, again, until you actually experience something for yourself that others have experienced, you're not going to understand what exactly is going on or what it's like. A lot of people who've had paranormal experiences, they don't ever want to have another one again. People buy old houses and they don't even realize it. I mean, they don't ever want to have another one again. And I've talked some about poltergeist activity. Poltergeist, you have multiple different kinds of poltergeist. And this is the big thing. If you have a poltergeist in your house, you're going to know it. Because poltergeist is a German word meaning noisy ghost or mischievous ghost. Basically, they're the troublemaker ghost of the terminology. But there's different types of poltergeist. There's a fire poltergeist, a water poltergeist, rock-throwing poltergeist. Rock-throwing poltergeists are extremely strange, but they are the most common, and they will actually, you can find the newspaper clippings of people saying this, though, that rocks would actually appear above, gigantic rocks would appear 30 or 40 feet above their houses out of nowhere, and then they would fall and they would damage their houses. They'd come crashing to the roof, and they would do various things, and these rocks would have been brought from all kinds of things. And Ed Warren actually has documentation, and actually has documentation from him and police officers and everything else that said that they actually watched a rock-throwing poltergeist in action one time, to where they said the rock actually, this huge boulder basically, came down, and instead of coming straight down, it was like it was being carried down in the air. It zigzagged all the way down, and then it hit the roof. And the police grabbed a kid, and they said, well, this kid right here is the one that was throwing that rock. And then Ed told the officer, he's like, how do you know that how would he do that? It's like that rock is too big for that boy to pick up. And yeah, he threw it up in the air and then caused it to zigzag all the way down. And the cops like, well, yeah, but we know that he did it. And then shortly after that, it happened again, and they ended up letting the boy go. But it was just insane stuff like that, though, that happens. And the poltergeists obviously have other things associated with them. A fire poltergeist can actually kill people. Now, there's been other deaths attributed to supernatural causes and stuff, though. They've just never confirmed that. But the witch of Blair Witch Cave, I believe the name of it is the only instance of Bell Witch Cave. Sorry, Bell Witch Cave. John Bell, not Blair. I was thinking of the Blair Witch Project. Bell Witch Cave, and it was there's a demon in Bell Witch Cave that actually the only death ever attributed to supernatural causes. I mean, it's on the death certificate. Supernatural causes. John Bell, Bell Witch Cave. And it is just an insane story. And if you dig into that story, though, guys, because there are all kinds of things. John Bell actually documented before he died that he saw creatures on his property, like giant cougar-like looking things. He couldn't actually describe them like in full detail, but it was like a big shadow cougar basically. And then he actually seen a big crow that he was going to shoot to actually try to eat, and before he could take a shot at it, it actually just evaporated into thin air and things like that. I mean, he documented a lot of strange things in that aspect of things, and there was just all kinds of things that happened there. But these are the kinds of things that we're going to be getting into, especially as we get on the road here and start traveling. And we're going to get out there. We got a few more pieces of equipment that we got to get yet, but we'll be getting out there, be traveling. It's going to be a lot of traveling, guys. It's going to take a lot of time, and hopefully we're actually looking for 2 more people to join us here. So hopefully we'll be able to find 2 people to join our team here very soon that we're actually going to need. And then we are out looking for some interesting places to go that a lot of people have not been to yet. Now, there are some places as well that we know from people who actually work there that the places are haunted. But the big thing is, and this is the big thing, that we know that they're haunted, but we've talked to the people that work there, and they don't want us actually saying where we're going. So when we go to these places, we're not going to be able to tell you guys exactly where we're at. Some of them, there's actually a hotel, but I can't tell you which hotel because we're going to have to keep that under wraps. But when we go down there and do that, and it's a certain room that has a lot of activities, so we'll be going down there and doing that. But we can't tell you the location or like what's happening because that's just against the management, and people don't want to get in trouble, and we completely understand that. So we don't want to cause any trouble for anybody doing that. But there are some interesting things, like we're going to get back to the Crescent Hotel. The Crescent Hotel has a dark history. It just does. It has one of the strangest histories. It's been all over the map. I did a video on the Crescent Hotel, which was a really good video, in-depth. It was a lot. I had to go do a lot of research on it. It was so much information that I had to have the papers there in front of me. It was just insane, the amount of information, and just digging in and seeing all of that happening there. And hotels are notorious for that. The Cecil Hotel out in Los Angeles, it's also that's got even a darker history, and Richard Ramirez actually stayed there, and all kinds of things, and it just an insane history. It's no longer a hotel now, though. The Cecil's not. They turned it into like a low housing community project, so can't really go in that now. It's kind of became private property for lower housing. It's amazing how people do that. And some people, they'll advertise their stuff as, yeah, it's haunted, you can come on in. A lot of people don't want that kind of attention. They don't want the kind of attention it brings. They're afraid it's going to drive people away. they don't really want. At the Cecil Hotel, there's actually been instances of people actually recording back when it was a hotel and stuff, though, and they were catching all kinds of things floating through the air, things getting slung across the rooms, things. I mean, it was just utterly insane, like the things that were happening on the video. And as we get into this, though, guys, and it's amazing how many places are haunted and how much activity there's in places. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, obviously, yeah, houses have spiritual activity. There are all kinds of things. Houses have spiritual activity. Obviously, other buildings can't. There's school activity, especially places where people have died. They have high spiritual activity. Hotels, forest. The Maniac Swamp is actually classified as a haunted forest. It's actually like one of the most haunted forests in the entire world. That's what they classify it as. Definitely not a place that you want to be out there at night. I started out talking about how my uncle lived out on the bayou. Definitely not a place that you want to be out there at night, especially with all the alligators and all the crazy stuff that goes on. But over there, yeah, damn it, definitely don't want to be out there in that part. Again, guys, if you want to check out the alligator tours over there, that is in Laplace, Louisiana. It's spelled like Laplace, but it's Laplace. Southern people like me have sometimes it's hard to remember on how to pronounce those words. I mean, again, I was born in Louisiana. I lived there for a decent but a while. I came to Missouri, though. I moved up here in the 4th grade, so I actually ended up got kind of a weird deal. I'm still more southern than Midwestern, kind of a strange mix. But we'll be hitting the road here really soon, guys. I'm excited about a lot of things that we're going to be doing. Again, there'll be places that people don't even know. They don't know that they're haunted. And just all kinds of really cool things that we have coming up here really soon that I really can't speak on right now. A lot of really great projects. If you guys know of any places out there that are haunted or have a dark history, let us know about it, because we would definitely love to research it and go into it. I will say as well, though, guys, be careful, because you do have to be spiritually strong to a certain point to actually go in and be able to investigate places. There are instances where people, well, they would love the idea of doing it, but they're doing it for the fame or the money and stuff, though. And again, there's been a lot of TV shows, a lot of things that kind of make it look a lot more intense than what it is. And it is intense. I mean, things do happen. But the thing is, people really don't understand the seriousness of it. I mean, again, you have all these YouTube channels out there and all these TV shows that try to perpetrate it as, well, you know, it's not going to be that big of a deal or anything. It's just kind of we're just going to go out and make videos and do this. You also got to be careful, because, yes, I hate saying this, but people do fake evidence. They fake videos. They fake things to try to get views, and that is not right. And honestly, with the evolution of AI now, it's really going to be bad for paranormal investigators, because people already are skeptics about things, and with the evolution of AI being able to go in and change things and put stuff in scenes and make scenes and do things and just things that aren't there. But it's still going to be hard, though, to really, it's going to be hard, especially, we'll be doing some live videos as well, so you guys will be seeing what we're seeing in real time, so you'll be seeing things happen, so that way, you know, it doesn't get any more real than being in real time, because then, you know, can't really edit that, especially if you're out moving around from room to room in a place that you just got to. So we'll definitely try to keep that as far across the board as we can. We're not going to fake any scenes, guys. I just got to say this. Like, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of clickbait. I'm not a big fan of people that do things just to get views. I mean, if you're interested in our videos, then by all means, click on our videos, check out our videos, do all kinds. I mean, check us out. We definitely got some of the videos. It's not just paranormal stuff. I did some reviews on some pieces of machinery that I really do love ever since I bought them, and check those out. I got a Kubota side-by-side and some four-wheelers and all kinds of things on there that I've really done that I really do love, though. And it's just something that I like giving you guys reviews, so that way you guys know the honest opinion that I have. I'm not going to tell you guys to go out and buy something because I think it's crap, and I'm not going to tell you guys, well, this is real and then it's not real and stuff like that. And that's not the way that I roll. That's not the way that Ryan rolls. We're not going to bullshit you. That's not something that we're into. We hate people that bullshit. And some of you are probably thinking, who's Ryan? Well, this is JNR Exploration and Discovery. Ryan is the R in the JNR. He just hasn't been able to come out very much. Kind of been busy doing our separate things. But coming up here really soon, talking about coming up here really soon, guys, Ryan will be able to come out with us. He'll be here with us in the paranormal videos. He'll be here with us doing all kinds of things, and we'll be hitting the road, traveling, guys. If you're going to be out traveling, if you're just going to be out traveling, I recommend you travel with at least one other person, because the world is definitely getting crazier. But we're going to be out there doing our thing, checking out these places. And not only that, but him and I are both history people as well. So we love history, so we're also going to be big as history videos. So it's not just going to be about, oh, it's paranormal and that's it. We love branching out, and some up-to-date news on things that could be happening across the world, some survival skill stuff, and just a lot of things like that, though. We're going to be out. We're going to be going to history sites. Actually, there's some Civil War battlefields that are haunted, so we're going to be able to give you guys a history video with a paranormal video. And really, all paranormal videos are history videos, but be able to go into some of the history of the Civil War, and just be able to go into the history on a lot of other really, really neat things. So, guys, with all that being said, I know I talked about a lot in this video. I know that there's a lot of things going on out there. I know that you guys take time out of your day to view videos that you think are interesting. Hopefully you guys are going to love following along with us on this journey, and you guys are going to like what we put out as we continue. Again, we are going to get some more equipment and make the best possible videos for you guys. And again, guys, if you know of any place that you would like us to go check out, it could be anything. It could be a house that you own. If you think that it's something that's worth a paranormal investigator or team going to check out, then you let us know. And there's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can reach out to us on JNR Exploration Discovery on Instagram, and you can reach out to us on JNR Exploration Discovery on our Facebook page. And while you're there, give us a follow on Instagram, and go ahead and like our Facebook page, though, guys. We respond super fast on those messages. So if you think that you have a haunted house, or if you think, especially if you're here in the state of Missouri, or especially if you're in other areas, guys, that are close to here, Arkansas, or even Tennessee and things along those lines, Kansas, Oklahoma, let us know. And you may not own it. It could just be a place that you've gone to that you found was super interesting, but you want an in-depth video done on, and we're going to get as in-depth as we can. So, guys, with all that being said, seriously though, guys, if you guys know of any place, or if you own a place and you're thinking like, well, I don't know, or the house that you live in, I don't know, then reach out to us, and we'll definitely be happy to come and check it out. Ryan's had a lot of paranormal stuff happen to him. His family has had paranormal stuff happen. They've definitely had some things. He actually just got back from a haunted hotel over in Oklahoma City. So there's definitely a lot of things to be said. There's a lot of places out there, guys, that are haunted. There's a lot of activity going on, especially with the eclipse. It really spiked the activity, I feel like. With all that being said, though, guys,